If somebody would have stole some money from Fannie Lou Hamer, if somebody would have somehow disenfranchised Hiram Rebels, do they quit or do they keep going? Brothers and sisters, I'm so sick and tired of black men making excuses not to fight for black people. And if you ain't got courage to stand up for ours, don't call yourself a man. Don't call yourself a man. Brothers and sisters, as I prepare to wrap this up, I'm going to watch and follow the situation in Jackson. And I commit myself to coming back as many times as I have to do whatever I can do to help y'all overturn this, because you can. If it's one thing history has taught black people, there is nothing the white man can do to you that you cannot turn upside down if you're willing to pay the cost of freedom. Brothers and sisters, the hour is late in our struggle. We have sat by too comfortable for too long. But I'm here with a message from my ancestors that says, black man, black woman, stand up and fight. Don't quit. We're better than this. We are better than this. We ain't gonna live on our knees no more. We got to get up and fight. Even if you're the only one fighting, you do it. And to my parents, please stop with the special education reform. Stop letting them, helping them create a permanent underclass of black children under this so-called reading disability. Brothers and sisters, I'm a school psychologist by profession. Testing for special ed is what I do, and I need you to understand special education is a trap and a con. It is the fast-forward button for the school-to-prison pipeline.
We don't want no IEP.
We don't need no IEP, which ain't nothing but an incarceration preparation program.
All right now.
When is the last time your child read a book? When is the last time you made them read to you? When is the last time you took them to one of the black bookstores or cultural shops in Jackson, Mississippi? When is the last time they went to the local library? When is the last time you bought an updated set of encyclopedia, a dictionary, or a thesaurus? If a black boy can't read, by the time he finishes the 5th grade, there's a 75% chance he'll be a prisoner at some point in his life. We have control over a lot of this. The white man pushes, but we got to push back. And the Achilles heel of the Negro, the Achilles heel is the fact that we don't use our money for our own liberation. Brothers and sisters, one of the reasons we dare last in the competition for political and economic power in this country and around the world is because the Asian will use his money to empower himself. The Latino will use his money to empower himself. The European Jew will use his money to empower himself. The Anglo-Saxon will use his money to empower himself. And black people will vote, black people will vote, black people will march, and black people will pray, and black people will riot, but black people will not use your black dollars to create black power. I close with the story of a little black woman named Harriet Tubman, born Araminta to Ross on the eastern shore of Maryland, one county over from my ancestors in Denton. Harriet Tubman ran away from slavery to freedom in the year 1850 when the second fugitive slave bill was passed. After Harriet Tubman made her way through Wilmington, Delaware, where the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy is, and up to Philadelphia, and then on up to New York City. She went back to Maryland and she freed her mother and her father and most of her siblings. They begged her, they said, Queen Mother Harriet, daughter, don't go back no more. The slave master has a $40,000 bounty on your head. You'll be captured and killed. And Queen Mother Harriet, no more than 5 feet tall, 100 pounds soaking wet, looked at her mother and father and said, listen, this mission ain't for you to stop because you ain't given to me. God gave me this. And if it's God's decision that I should die on the Underground Railroad, free in mind, I will accept his decision and I will ask no questions. So Queen Mother Harriet kept on the Underground Railroad, freeing hundreds by her own hand. And when she was done, she bought a piece of land up in Auburn, New York, and opened up an old folks home for black people. Because, you know, back in the days of slavery, when you couldn't work no more, they turned you out to the street to die. So Harriet Tubman opened up an old folks home, and then Harriet Tubman opened up a hospital. I said she opened up a hospital. Harriet Tubman allegedly was an illiterate, untrained black woman, but she built a hospital. You with all your college degrees ain't got one. And then she opened up a farm to finance the hospital and the home. 3 institutions, 1 black woman. We talking the 1850s.
Okay, they know.
Then Harriet Tubman gets a phone call from the Secretary of War for the Union. We need you to come on down to South Carolina and be a nurse and a spy and a scout in the Civil War. So Harriet goes. And she's sneaking behind enemy lines, bringing back very important and critical details to President Abraham Lincoln. And Harriet used to make money for herself because she was not officially a soldier, so she used to treat the wounded soldiers with her own personal herbal concoctions because she was an herbalist.
Yeah. All right now.
And when the Civil War was over, Harriet Tubman applied for a freedman's pension, and they denied her. After all the service she gave to them, they denied her. And while she was down in South Carolina, she was approached by the general of the Union Army and said, "Are you willing to lead soldiers into battle?" Harriet Tubman took the assignment. And until this very day, February the 10th of 2023, Queen Mother Harriet Tubman Araminta Ross is the only woman in American military history. She is the only woman in American military history. Harriet Tubman, the only woman in American military history to lead soldiers into battle where she planned and led U.S. colored troops in the Combahee River Raid, which in one day freed over 750,000 black people.
All right now.
Why do I give you this? And when she was old, and they sat her out on that yard up there in Auburn, New York. If you've never been to the home of Harriet Tubman, make it a point to take your children up there. You can still feel her spirit. They asked Harriet Tubman, "Did you ever have any regrets?" She said, "No." She said, "I almost got caught, but whenever that happened, I get down on my hands and knees and ask God to find me a way out of this situation." She said, "I almost got caught plenty of times, but whenever I called on the great mystery of the universe, a way came out for me." But she said, "With all that, I just got one problem, just one." She said, "There was times when I tried to lead a new group of Africans to freedom up to Canada. Some of them wanted to go back halfway through. So she said I had to carry a rifle on my hip that I never used, but I carried it. And whenever a Negro told me, 'Mama Harriet, I can't go no more. I'm too hungry, too tired, too cold, too scared,' she would cock the gun to their temple and she said, and I'm only quoting my ancestors, 'Dead niggas tell no tales. You go on and you die here.' And she said as a result of that, I never lost a passenger. And I never ran my train off the track, but the one regret that I had was that I freed hundreds of slaves. Hundreds! I could have freed thousands. The problems was they never knew that they were slaves. Brothers and sisters, my family came to America in 1701. A black man by the name of Bailey, stolen from Nigeria. He was brought to Talbot County, Eastern Shore, Maryland. He married a black woman named Selah, for whom my 11-year-old daughter is named. She had Grandma Jenny. Grandma Jenny had Grandma Betsy in 1774. Grandma Betsy married Grandpa Isaac. Isaac was free, but my grandma was a slave, and they had 12 children. One daughter was named Harriet. Another daughter was named Young Betsy, my 5 times great-grandmother. These 2 sisters were raped by Aaron Anthony, the white man who owned my family. So in February of 1818, my auntie Harriet gave birth to the greatest black leader in American history. His name was Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey. At the age of 20, cousin Fred ran away from Eastern Shore, Maryland, up through Wilmington, through Philadelphia, up to New York, where he married his blue, black, purple queen, Anna Murray Douglas, of 50 years, and changed his name from Bailey to Douglas to hide his identity on the fugitive slave trail. My grandmother, Young Betsy, gave birth to his half-brother and first cousin a year later, my 4 times great-grandfather Stephen Henry Bailey. They were cousins because the mother was sisters. They were brothers because the slave master was their dad. Well, it turns out that my grandfather Stephen's mother, my 5 times great-grandmother, she was sold from Maryland to Mississippi, never to be heard again. So somewhere in this great state of yours, one of my female paternal ancestors is buried, and I call on her soul, along with the soul of Fannie Lou, and the soul of Ida B. Wells, and the blood of Emmett Till and Medgar Evers to rise up and help Jackson turn the tide in this situation. So my grandpa Stephen marries my grandma Caroline. They had my grandfather George. My grandfather George marries Grandma Minnie. They have my grandmother Caroline. She has my grandmother Vivian. She marries Grandpa Cicero. They have Grandma Ida, who died in 2018. She married James Johnson, and I just got in contact with that family a few days ago. And they had my father Jamal, who met my mother Barbara, and they were married, and I was born on August the 21st. the anniversary of the Haitian Revolution, the anniversary of the Nat Turner War, the anniversary of the George Jackson War, the anniversary of the Fugitive Slave Convention, and the day Emmett Till showed up in Money, Mississippi. Frederick Douglass said, if there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess the faith of freedom but deprecate agitation are like men who want crops without plowing up the ground. They want the rain but can't stand the thunder or the lightning. They want the ocean, but they're scared of the roar of the waves. Frederick Douglass said, a man may not get all you pay for, but you will pay for all that you get. And if we as a people are ever to become free of the injustices inflicted upon us, we must pay for their removal. We may pay with words, we may pay with blows, we may pay with blood. You might have to pay with your life. But he who wants to be free must himself strike the first blow. Frederick Douglass said, for 20 years, I prayed on my knees to God for freedom. For 20 years, I prayed on my knees to God for freedom. But the good Lord gave me no freedom until I got up off my knees and prayed with my feet. He said, power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did and it never will. Brothers and sisters, as most of you know, we've been raising money since 2014 to build an all-boys school, independently of the government, independent of any charter school. Well, we started the fundraiser in 14, we bought the school in 2019, and we plan on opening the school next month. So I'm letting you all know this, that the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy, the first school in American history built exclusively with donations from African people from every continent on earth. We will begin educating our young men next year, but we're going to have the Black Community Grand Opening this year. We was going to do it this month, but we're going to wait until April. So please make sure you stay in contact with me. I want all of my Mississippi family, I don't care if you got to bring a bus or a caravan, get to Wilmington, Delaware, and join in on the celebration of the first school of its type in American history. If you want to work at my school, please send me your resume. We need math teachers, science teachers, we need social studies, we need civics, but guess what else we need? We need brothers and sisters who know African spirituality to teach it. We need brothers and sisters who know gun training to teach it. We need brothers and sisters who know natural food and vegan food preparation to teach it. We need agriculturalists and farmers to teach it. We need brothers and sisters who know how to build websites to teach it. We need those who know how to go fishing and hunting and camping to teach it. This is a leadership academy. Because if it's one thing Black America needs more than anything else, is Black men with leadership. So brothers and sisters, I thank you all for those of you who have donated and supported us through this mission, because it has not been easy. As you know, the coons and the Negro peons are always on their job. But despite all that, and with the ancestors at my back, we are prevailing and we are at the finish line right now. With that, I want to invite all of you who are interested to join us tonight from 6 p.m. until 8 at the African Art Gallery, 800 Farish Street. You all know where that is, F-A-R-I-S-H. I will be there tonight for a meet and greet conversation, Q&A, Black Town Hall conversation for those who would like to be there. But in closing, I want to say, I did not come here today because I expect us to lose. I came here today because I expect us to win. I came here today to breathe life back into us, because victory is on our side. If there's one thing we know, and two things for certain, some of the most powerful people in the world today were some of the most